but I want to bring a brother in. Peace, Olu, I see you. How are you doing? Hey, Chandler, I see you. I'm sending an invitation to our brother to come in, our brother Karim. There's been an uptick in shootings in New York City, especially Brooklyn. Not understanding exactly what's going on or why this is happening, but I want to speak to someone who's on the ground who is well versed in doing work around violence interruption, who can give me or give us an insight in terms of what's going on. And so our brother's going to come in just a minute. I just actually finished a broadcast for about an hour on Fly New Moon Queen's YouTube page. My weekly show is Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. My show is called The Lioness Den, and this week, Wednesday and today, I talked about Breonna Taylor. I talked about the protests, how justice is slow, and all of that stuff. Brother Karim, I see you. Okay. You coming in? Disconnecting. B1, I see you, Jalon. Hey.
You understand? We don't know each other anymore. We just don't. There's no urge. There's no urgency to know who each other is. So you are easily picked off then. We can easily question why was George Floyd stopped? Because we already have a negative image of each other. Or he had to do something. You understand? But if everybody knew who he was, it would be no question. If everybody knew who Trayvon was, if everybody knew who Eric Garner was, if everybody knew who everybody was, the police would have no way to engage with that individual and pick them off. Everybody knows when you see somebody in a bow tie and a suit, who he is and what that person represents. Was that purposely done? Is that their shield? Everybody knows who they are. Either they NOI or they fruit. So the police is not going to run up on them.
Facts.
He don't fit no image. He don't fit the description. If you run up on him, you out of pocket. Was that purposely done? Maybe. Does it work? Indeed. Because there's already something in here when you see it. But when you're in the community and nobody knows each other, nobody cares to love on each other, it's easy for somebody to come through and knock your block off. Whether it be police, whether it be somebody from the neighborhood, because there's no care and concern. There's no love. Without black love, you're finished.
Right. I just wish people would have listened to your proposal 6 or 7 years ago, because I think that, like you said, we would be in the practice of knowing how to be with ourselves and how to be with each other. The other thing, though, too, is I think that, like, now is the ideal time to make sure that we enforce no children, no young people out there on the street just roaming around hours of the day or even all hours of the night. And, you know, I would really implore our sisters to also make sure that we are laying low as well, because we are in the middle of an anti-Black war. We don't have the full scope of what the hell is really going on and who the players are behind it, or what's going on. And I think that when it comes to having that level of accountability and really encouraging a lot of Black women these days to get us to start to think and get on code in a certain way, it comes up against a wall of like, oh, well, I'm an empowered woman. This is 2020. I can do what I want to do, and I can defend myself, and I don't need a man. And, you know, I shouldn't have to be escorted by a brother. I don't need a man to protect me. I'm going to do what I do. Well,
how has that been working?
Horribly.
Okay.
Horribly.
So, listen, 5% of the population is going to become knowledgeable. They're going to have knowledge of self. 1% of that 5% is going to move on that and actually employ those methods, actually manifest that. Everybody else is going to be a casualty. That's just the facts. It happened when Martin, it happened with Garvey, when Malcolm X was at his apex. People were selling dope right down the block. You're only going to get a certain amount of the people to have that wherewithal in order to do what needs to be done. There is a lot of ignorance. There's a lot of cynicism, because while you are speaking the truth, while others are speaking the truth, you have a whole 98% of the time that they are being fed garbage, whether it's through the culture, whether it's through the conventional media. There are images of everything telling your people how to be. All day, they educate them in their schools and in higher institutions of learning. They employ them. And when you get employed by them, there's a certain behavior and code that you have to abide by. That gets into the psyche. They get into the psyche by the images and the messages in television shows, in movies, in literature, in commercials, on the news. Everybody's telling your people how to be. So when you come with your dreads and your African talk and your piece to the power, they don't want to hear that because it's uncomfortable.
Look, somebody better hear something, because basically the bottom line is, what the hell are we going to do to make sure, at least, at the very least, first and foremost, black babies are not getting hit by stray bullets?
Well, it takes more men to be out there. You cannot turn a blind eye to it. You got to get out there. You got to be out here and walk and see and talk and interrupt. You don't have enough. You don't. You just don't. You don't have a lot of black men doing it. You just don't do it. They got every excuse in the world. And the ones who are doing it are far and few. And they're not networking.
Mm-hmm. Well, we've seen a lot of black men organizing a lot now, right?
Right.
We saw, 4th of July, NFAC. And I think that they're organizing, people are organizing in different communities in Baltimore. I forget the name of the group. It's a group of brothers in Baltimore. You know what I'm talking about? And they do community control of police. Philadelphia, same thing. So I think you're right. They're few and far between. But honestly, what I'm seeing is a lot of men who are about to hit that middle age mark, or they're in that middle age mark. They're the ones that I see most active. Right. In terms of like organizing in a revolutionary sense and doing the community control of police. How do we get the youth involved? How do we get the 16, 17, 18, 19, 21-year-olds on code and involved in an organization as young men that's going to police the community? I think, the NOI does a great job of that, making sure black men are organized in a way. But if we're talking about being armed and organized and like out there protecting black men, black women and black children and preventing these things, how do we get the young people involved? Consistency
and truth. You have to be consistent with young people, and you have to deal with them with transparency and truth. The minute you go back on your word, they're not dealing with you. The minute they catch you in some lie, they're not dealing with you, because they have been grown in systems that has lied to them. They know that we lied to them when we tell them they can be anything they want to be.
Facts.
They know that's a lie. They know that. So when you feed them that shit and say, oh, well, just go to school and get a job, they know that's a lie. That you giving them a half life. Oh, what do I do? And this, the police will take care of it. They know that's a lie. Our youth are not stupid. They have energy that they feel. You have to be consistent with them and give them the truth. That you're black, that you're powerful, and people want to kill you. So you gotta be your best. How can I be my best? You have to study. You have to believe in yourself and understand the institutions that are lying to you, that want to enslave you, and figure out a way to live outside of that and to build your own. This is not ours. This is their shit. Stop fighting to be included in their shit.
Facts.
This is not
Listen,
ours.
you're lucky though, because I know that your father impressed upon you high knowledge. You know, in the household you were raised up a certain way. But not all youth have access to that. Talk about your experience growing up and where we need to fill in the gaps as a community for those who are coming behind us.
My upbringing was totally, I mean, I'm going to be honest, man. My upbringing was totally different. My father was the absolute bomb. Absolute bomb. Right? He was with father-in-law, formerly known as Clarence 13X. So he was in the firstborns, the first nation of gods and earths. Right? When the father was assassinated, he went backwards as everybody else was coming out of the nation and going to the 5% nation of gods and earths. He went the other way and acquired his ex. After he acquired his ex, I was born, and he named me after his imam because he transitioned into Sunni Islam. So I grew up on reel-to-reels of Elijah Muhammad, reel-to-reels of Malcolm X. Everything that was in my household was around that as far as it came from him. My mother was into Garvey, into Huey, into Asada, into Mao and Che and different. So my upbringing was different. But even in that, if you're not consistent, you're going to fall off. Right? Because in learning all of that, the institutions that we are up under don't facilitate growth for that. Now you're seen as somebody who's woke, so you're an enemy. So now doors get shut. Yeah. Now other things take place. Now there's alcohol and drugs in your immediate communities. Now you don't really see you manifestation of becoming all that you can become. Because this country is not going to facilitate that. Now you're stuck. So you have a bunch of knowledge, a bunch of wisdom, but no institutions that's going to allow you, right, growth in that. Because growth in that means their destruction. That's just that simple. So you can have all the knowledge and wisdom you want. If you're not living outside of that and going against that, you're just a knowledgeable person.
Facts.
You just have your third eyes open, but you're not doing shit with it.
No movement. There's
no movement.
No transformation,
So
no nothing. Yeah.
And everything else around you just grows. If it's not growing, it's decaying. If something is decaying, something else is growing. Right? So now when you don't have that forward movement, that kinetic movement to make sure that you live out to that royalness, because you're the real royal, right? That melanin is something that have you in space. You're intergalactic. But you're now subjected up under a man who's really a figment of his own imagination. The white man created himself. And everybody is falling in line with that. That's why we stuck. He says he's the best. He says his laws are the best. And when you fall up under that and you don't go against it, oh well.
Right. So before we close, as we close, because I want to go out, I gotta go get me some vegan food. No it's been a long day. I did my broadcast on Vegan Queen. But well, I was going to ask you about your perspective on the whole Nick Cannon situation. We don't necessarily need to go there because we're really talking about violence and interruption and what we need to do in order to empower our youth and move forward. If you can make a connection with that to the whole Nick Cannon fiasco, feel free.
Well,
okay.
When it comes to that, He is who he is and got what he got. He is a child of the entertainment industry. He made no other money outside of the entertainment industry. So he should have known better. He should have known better. They spanked him. So what? Anybody in that industry, when they deal with them, how they deal with them, I have no care and concern. None of that shit comes down to my neighborhood. He has never walked in East New York. He's never put $1 in East New York. Lived in New York City for many years. I've never seen any of that.
Right. I'm sorry.
So when they deal with him,
how they got 2 minutes left, just so you know.
Okay. When they deal with him, how they deal with him, they spank him.
Right.
I don't care about that.
So yeah, I bring that up too because that seems to be the predominant conversation, right? Happening on social media and people having a conversation. Meanwhile, you and I, and people out there who do violence interruption work, are focusing on what's happening to our community in terms of our people.
Right.
In the final minute, I want you to just give me 3 things that you want me and our audience to do in order to be a solution to the problem of violence in our community.
First thing I want y'all to do, get out of the way. If you're not a target, if a target isn't seen, nobody can hit it. Get out of the way. 2, love yourself. Really love yourself. Don't play with it. Love yourself, right? 4, make sure you hold, 3, make sure you hold black men accountable. Ask them, what has they done today to stop the violence in the street? Ask him, what has he done today to make you safe? Ask him, what has he done today to get up out of the confines of the system? That's the 3 things.
All right. Thank you, brother. Let's do this again next week or maybe over the weekend, and we can keeping in contact and building with the family.
Definitely.
Enjoy your day. I love you, audience. Thank y'all for tuning in. All right. Salute.
Salute. Peace and power.
Black power.